Registration for VAT, value added tax in Germany. Who has to do it and what do you have to know about it? Today we're going to talk about this topic, so welcome back to another video here on GTax. My name is Roland Elias, I'm a German tax advisor, and yes, it's very important for you to know, do I have to register for the value added tax, so-called VAT? So who needs to register for VAT in Germany? First of all, what is VAT registration and why does it matter to you? First of all, value added tax registration, VAT registration means you have to authorize to charge VAT on your invoices. This means, for example, you're a business owner and you write invoices to or send invoices to your customers. In this case, you must then submit a regular VAT returns and collect the collected tax to the Finanzamt tax office. Because in this case, it's like this, that you write, you send a bill, an invoice to your customer, and on the bill, on the invoice, it's already tax included of, for example, 90%. And then you keep the tax and then send it to the Finanzamt, the so-called tax office. This is in this case, registered businesses receive, for example, a Steuernummer, tax number, and optionally an UST ID number for EU trade, short VAT EU VAT ID. And then you have to, for example, keep the value added tax and send it to the Finanzamt. And then the second point is you can reclaim input to VAT on business related expenses. This is another big information and very important for you. It's legally required if you cross certain revenue thresholds that we're going to talk about later. That's, for example, who must register for VAT in Germany. Anyone who is earning over 25,000 euros per year in revenue for 2025. This is the case if you say, okay, I have a business and I will make a revenue over 25,000, then you have to register for VAT. For example, these are freelancers, sole traders, and GmbHs. For example, that's our businesses like a Inc. corporation or like a LLC. These already have to register for VAT. The registration is very easy, but it is required if you provide only digital services or work online. This doesn't matter what kind of business you do. If you're, for example, producing iPhones or if you're selling on Amazon or anything like this, it doesn't matter what you do. If you do it and you're running a business, then you have to, for example, register for the VAT. This means selling physical goods or services within Germany, you have to charge a VAT and then keep it, collect it, and send it to the tax office. For example, for intra-EU B2B services, you don't have to charge VAT. That's a specialty, but on this we will go on later. For example, it's also important for so-called small business exemptions. This is for small businesses. It's called the Kleinunternehmerregelung. This is what I talked about before. It's if your revenue is under 25,000. And then you can say, okay, I don't want to keep the VAT. I don't want to write it on my invoices. So you're not allowed to keep the VAT and you're not allowed to charge it. That's the easy way. But in the other way around, you're not allowed to get a tax refund on your VAT you had for example, for business expenses. The next point is how to register for it. It's very easy. If you start a new business, you can do it with the so-called Fragebogen zur steuerlichen Erfassung. It's an easy online thing via Elster or on paper. You submit this to your local Finanzamt and then you get a Steuernummer and a EU VAT ID. And then you have to do it, for example, monthly, quarterly, or annually. So you can start with doing your business and then you have to collect the VAT for the tax office. The key things you need to know is, for example, if you're not above 25,000 euro, then there might be no problem for you. Then you can use the small business exemption. The next thing is the VAT affects your pricing. For example, on your net, you have to put up taxes to get to the gross pricing. This means it influences your pricing, your invoicing, and your cash flow, because you just collect the tax and then have to send it abroad to the local tax office. For foreign clients, for example, within the EU, with the B2B consents, or for example, with third countries like doing business with England or something like this. If you're from Germany, then you can send the invoices without value added tax. This is a specialty. We're coming to this later on. So it's very important to know where your clients are. If they are in Germany, that's no problem. It's EU or non-EU. There are some differences. But in case, you have to always have it in mind that you might consider to save or collect the value added tax and then, transfer it to the Finanzamt. So, do you have any questions about this? Then keep it up in the comments below. I wish you a very nice day and hit the follow button.